he chose to attack Donald Trump. Mr. Obama warning against overreacting to recent terrorist attacks. His usual lecture, we'll spare you that. And turn instead to our next guest. Our next guest says that President Obama has once again assumed his role as defender-in-chief of Islam. Joining us tonight, Dr. Robert Jeffress, a pastor at senior pastor at First Baptist Church in Dallas, one of the most influential evangelical churches in America, also one of the most influential clergy in the country, and author of the book detailing the rise of radical Islam, titled Countdown to the Apocalypse. Pastor, great to have you with us. Welcome back to the show.
Thank you, Lou.
Your response to President Obama. It is, to me, my frustration and consternation at all is ineffable. It is, I don't even know what he's playing at. Do you?
Yeah. Look, let's set the context. On the heels of yet another horrific terrorist attack, this time in Pakistan over Easter, we have the president once again assuming his favorite role, not as commander-in-chief, but as defender-in-chief of Islam. And I believe, Lou, it's time for the president and others to wake up to this fact. Whether we're talking about Brussels, Paris, Pakistan, or San Bernardino, these attacks share one common denominator. They were not committed by Jews or Hindus or Episcopalians. They were committed by radical Islamic terrorists. And for the president to deny this connection and to demonize the rest of us who do make this connection, well, it's not only shameful, it endangers the security of our country.
And as we're watching the Republican candidates, not one of them is making much of the genocide that's being carried out against Christians. Some have referenced it without question, but as in the days following Easter, one would have thought that we would have heard far more from the campaign trail by the men who presume that they will be taking Mr. Obama's chair.
Well, Lou, I do think there is a reason you have Donald Trump and Ted Cruz at the top of the GOP contenders. The fact is they are not shackled by political correctness, and they're willing to make these bold policy proposals that are certainly not politically correct, but they are designed to ensure the security of our country. And, you know, I think we're seeing what Donald Trump said a few weeks ago as being absolutely true. There is something within Islam that is engendering this hatred toward the rest of the world. And
don't you love, I'm sorry, Pastor, but don't you love the reaction of the national media and the left to suggest there is something about Islam that hates America when the record is quite demonstrably clear over the course of 15 years of conflict? This is striking, the reaction to his remark.
It is, and let's be clear, we realize that maybe just 5% of the 1.5 billion people in the world, or 1.5 billion Muslims in the world embrace radical Islam. But Lou, that's 75 million radical Muslims in the world. I mean, you don't have that with Christianity, 2.2 billion Christians in the world. We don't have 100 million Christians running around trying to chop people's heads off or bomb and maim. There is something there, and I think Trump is telling the politically incorrect truth that needs to be told.
On the issue of abortion, recoverable for Donald Trump, can he move forward and how should he do so? Very quickly, we got about 30 seconds, unfair to you, but that's what we have.
I think he clarified the issue in the right way, but I thought it was interesting that Rich Lowry said that everybody who's pro-life understands you never blame the victim. Well, look, if we really believe the rhetoric that abortion is murder, I don't think what Mr. Trump said originally is that out of line. I mean, women are somewhat complicit in this if they murder their own child. The only reason somebody like Rich Lowry or others would criticize Trump's original comments is because either they don't believe that abortion is murder or they're so blinded by hate for Trump that they don't allow logic to take its due course. I think Trump ended up in the right place on this, seeing women as victims. As a pastor, I see that all the time with women who have abortions. We ought to concentrate on the doctors.
Pastor, as always, good to have you with us. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Lou.
Pastor Robert Jeffress.